Hi there folks, welcome back to another video. And today folks is one of those days that it's just super exciting. I'm finally going to get to put some wood down on my floor. And to start it off, I'm expecting a big old load of lumber from Lowe's. And I went to Lowe's and just hand-picked everything. I didn't want to leave anything to chance, because when you put down lumber for a floor, everything has to be as perfect as possible. Exciting stuff, my lumber's here.
Time to read it and put down what's on. Okay. See if it's everything that you are. It should be.
Okay, it hasn't rained for days, but now the sky's looking a little bit ominous, so that means I better get this lumber dealt with, because the last thing I want to do to have all this expensive lumber get wet and warped or anything like that. Looks like everything arrived, so that's great. So I've been looking forward to this for a long time. I'm going to be putting down the, what they call the skids, on all of these cement pillars to start the beginning of my floor. Wow, how cool is that? Here we go. Okay, here's what I was thinking, folks. I was thinking those big 4x6 skids, you know, they'll be fine even in the rain. And then I thought, no, why take a chance? Any kind of twisting, oh, bad news. And then my floor is just had it right from the start. So I'm going to go pull them all off, even though it's a lot of work, and protect them. Ed, I got my work on yesterday. I did this twice. It was super great that engineer Ed could come by and give me a hand.
And yeah, we knew that it was going to be over because they're 97 inches long.
Yeah, this is just tiny, tiny bit.
Barely, yeah. So this you want to put right in the middle again.
So what we got here, folks, we've got what I call splints, which are made out of 2x6 pressure treated lumber, and they run the whole length of what I call skids, these large 4x6 pieces you see on the outside here that make the framework of the floor. And of course that should help a lot with the integrity of the floor overall, Ed, because now instead of a 4x6 thick skid or framework, I should say, of the floor, now it's what size?
Well, we're 5 inches wide, so the floor will be sitting on a 5-inch section of skid, and we've got 4 skids coming across here. So your support on this floor is going to be well overbuilt like you like doing. So
That's me. Overbuilt or us.
all right.
Thanks, Ed.
You're welcome. So we're going to use basically 50 screws per every 40 feet, which is going to give us about 9 inches of distance between each screw coming across these splints. And these are special screws that actually, they don't split the wood, and they'll screw in, and the bottom of the head of these screws actually have a locking action. So once they screw in and they'll countersink into the outside wood, they'll lock in.
Make it nice and sturdy.
Yeah, make it nice and sturdy.
I'm all about sturdy.
Good, I'm glad you were here to help me out with that.
So fortunately with these Simpson framing screws, they come with a special bit that's right inside of the box, so that's really handy. Well, this is exciting, Ed. We got our very first screw happening here.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. Nice.
And that locked in there, it sunk in, as you can see, a long way. So we've got up to 2 inches inside this board right now.
Beautiful.
And you see it's in deep. And yes, I put it at an angle, but it really doesn't care. Anything you do to put in here, that screw's going to suck in and lock that in.
So obviously these pieces of wood are not perfect, so we need to actually shim these up a little bit to make everything perfectly level. And what's really cool is these are left over from my my solar water tank build, and they seem to do the trick really well. So let's do this. So we're lifting this up, and we'll try just one at first.
One feels good.
Okay.
I think we need to do the other side.
Okay.
We might need 2.
So we're going to do one over here. What do you think?
I think that'll work.
Now everything is all level horizontally, which is great. So you can see there's this protruding 2x6 board here, and essentially these are going to be cut off, and we're going to use those pieces to complete the middle 2 rows here of beams. So we'll go to the far end and cut that piece off, and then come back and do this one. Excellent. Your mission, Jim, should you choose to accept it, is to use an old-fashioned handsaw and make a really nice cut. How do you like that? So I had a recent question asking how are all my trees and shrubs doing. So I thought I'd give everyone an update. First of all, this has been the driest season I've lived here, and this is, wow, season number 4 for me. And there was a bit of rain and monsoon action happened, but not much of it. It was pretty lame, to be honest. So for example, my big old cottonwood here doesn't have much for leaves. Now, it has leaves, but they're really small, and there's a reason. Because with this type of cottonwood, when it faces a really dry year, the last thing it can do is afford to put out those big, wonderful, heart-shaped green leaves it had last year. So it's basically conserving its energy. It's well, and it's healthy, but it's in drought mode, basically. So this little desert sage last year was just a riot of color, beautiful red blooms everywhere. But this year, it got some, but it's essentially trying to conserve its energy because, again, it had to deal with a really, really dry summer. So just like the company that sold me the Chinese Empress tree told me to do, I cut it way back last fall. And as you can see, it did grow this year, but nowhere near as much as I thought it would. But again, I had to parcel out the water because I needed water badly because we had so few monsoons overall. So this Paulownia tree seemed to do better than the others, and so what I did, I started treating him as my favorite and gave him extra water all the time. And as a result, it started from literally from 2 inches tall in the spring, and now is taller than I am. So for a shrub that I've always perceived as being super tough, the oleander here actually died over the winter. They couldn't handle my snow and cold weather, and they did come back, but they really didn't grow as much as I thought they would. So my absolutely beautiful desert willow that was chest high last year with all the beautiful rains, actually I thought, well, I'm going to cut it so that it's going to be only one stem, and I did that, and unfortunately it died, or I should say it looked like it was dead. And so I cut the dead part away, and fortunately it grew up from the roots. And it did bloom this year, but it's only half the height it used to be. So big lesson, be really careful when you prune desert willow. This one fared the worst. Everything got chomped severely. Now, all the green you see here is actually new growth where the tree is fighting back. And what you see here is my sock. I thought the smell of my old smelly socks would keep the deer away. Now, what I found so encouraging, folks, is this guy was pruned severely. I mean, we're talking all of this is new growth here from here on up, and all of this. The deer totally just practically destroyed him, but he came back with a vengeance. So that gives me a lot of hope for all of them. So I'm super encouraged. So this isn't some advertisement. I paid for this stuff and bought it on Amazon. It's called Deer Out, and you just mix it with water, and I put it in this spray bottle and spray my trees with it once every few months is when I do that, because I noticed if you spray really heavily, it looks like it might burn the needles a little bit from what I can tell. I'm not sure, but I know other people have had that issue. So you have to use it judiciously. I was out of bird food for a while, and so my scaled quail were absolutely frustrated with not having any munchies, but I've restocked it and they're back and enjoying their feed. Well, folks, the more I work on this building and see some progress, the more excited I get and the more I envision this actually being a home. And it's just an absolute fantastic adventure. And so I wanted to say thank you so much for joining me here, and I really appreciate all your comments, folks. Comments to me tell me that you're interested in what I'm doing here and that you really care what's going on, and that means a lot. And I know that quite a few of my subscribers are construction folks or work in the trades, so I'd love to have your input, just what you think of this build so far. What would you have done differently, or what do you think was done well? Love to hear from you. So if you want to join me here and see how this home develops, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell thing. That'll let you know when my next video is coming up. And I really appreciate each and every one of you watching all of these videos. Oh, and to those folks I've bumped into at Lowe's and Home Depot and other places, thanks so much for being so friendly, and I really appreciate you watching. And we'll see you on the next video.